What if Sword Art Online became a survival MMO? I never play any video game based on an anime because I believe most of them are just a cash grab and more like an exploitation to the community. I understand that getting the intellectual properties and making the game will be extremely expensive, and gathering actual artists, not those industry standard one, under a same banner is pretty much impossible. And studio is just a logo. Publisher is just a machine. And I have the conclusion that anime will never become a AAA game. But what if I have the capitals, the best artists, the best programmers, the best studio I ever wish for, and the community asks me to make Sword Art Online into an actual game? Hear my proposal. I'm going to make Sword Art Online into a semi-realistic survival, looter, third-person shooter, melee art combat, magnetic parry system, sword art skill, aura system, floor boss siege system, map data system, dynamic questing, heir system, wipe system, floor-based rarity system, aincrad morality system, PvP, PvE, MMORPG. That was a lot. If you already understand everything just from that, well, congratulations. But if you don't, let me explain. Let me remind you that Sword Art Online is just a generic VR MMORPG video game. Sadly, we have yet commercialized such technology, and it will be awesome to use nerf gear to experience the world of aincrad, but what makes a Sword Art Online a Sword Art Online is the fact that the developers design if player HP come to 0, the avatar will be deleted, and player's brain that using the nerf gear will be cooked, or in other words, unalive in real life. Firstly, this video is not about the epic tale of Black Swordman beater Kirito collecting his harem. I don't care about that. Well, actually seeing cameos like Sachi-chan will be interesting. This video is about Sword Art Online VR MMORPG. So, the question is, how do we mimic the feeling of death? The feeling that failure will punish us. The feeling that it's not a game. It is a life or death situation. There is an attempt in gaming community, which is a Russian roulette game that you can play all the time until you lose, until you die in the roulette. Your account will never be able to access that game again. Player's death will be acknowledged in a form of a grave with their username that living player can browse. Should we make that way? Of course not. That will be interesting but not fun. So, what is our best attempt? Survival looter MMO. If I'm not wrong, this genre is being introduced by an Arma mod, which is DayZ. And these days we have Escape from Tarkov, Rust, The Cycle Frontier, Marauder, Lost Light, Hunt Showdown, Albion Online, G. Apex Legend, Fortnite, and many more. The basic idea of survival looter game is the idea that players have to survive and to loot the resource to progress the game. Remember, have to survive, because if you don't, you lose it all. If you never try any of this game, it is understandable because you are a coward, mentally weak, loser, quitter, and all of the terms that describe how you using game to escape and not to challenge yourself. Tarkov is a military simulation game that is so realistic you could say Tarkov is a post-war life simulation in Ukraine. You need information, skill, the will, and commitment to making any progress. You need to prepare yourself. You need to buy your gun, your equipment, your ammos, your supply, and then throw yourself into a raid. In this raid, you could eliminate a player, then take everything they have and gaining profit. But if you are the one who got eliminated by players, or maybe the NPC, you lose it all. You lose everything you bring into that raid. The problem why Tarkov is one of the hardest game ever is because there is a scenario where someone could shoot you from the bushes without you knowing, and the idea that you instantly delete it without a fight is frustrating. So, what if Tarkov, but there is no range weapon? Sword Art Online have throwing knife, kunai, chakram, but that's it. There is no bow. There is no bow. There is no gun. There is only melee weapon. You can ambush, you can retreat, you can fight with a reasonable time to kill and give you the actual joy of struggle. The Sword Art Online that I propose is the experience to fight, to love, and to hate living in aincrad. The ultimate goal of Sword Art Online is to challenge the player to clear the game, which is conquering the entirety of 100 floors of the sky castles of aincrad. And of course, suddenly make 100 floor with 100 variants of biomes in 5 to 10 year frame would be ridiculous. So we just focus on the starting floor first. Let me remind you, in the first floor there is the starting city. This starting city acts as a tutorial area and new player oasis. Outside of it, there's some town that act as safe zone and temporal economy zone from all the danger of aincrad. The only way to progress to higher floor is to open the gate between floor that being guarded by the floor boss, that located in the tower-like dungeon. If we want to be loyal to the lore, when some players defeated floor boss, they will gain a very unique skill, item, or whatever. Every single player can use the portal teleport stuff thing to travel between floors without needing to fight the floor boss themselves. Imagine that you and your guild member take down the floor boss. Your name will be shown in the town hall. Become a name that NPC talking about in the whole server, or maybe immortalized as a statue near the tower-like dungeon. And don't forget, wipe system. Imagine the replayability. Well, those are my thinking, and ideally will be a nice ego boost to be the best in aincrad. Because it is a semi-realistic survival MMO, items will have durability. Weapons could break, equipment might lose strength, food could spoil, potion could be poison. Actually, that will be pretty epic if that sounds awesome. Crystals might fail and everything will be gone eventually. Nothing stay forever, just like your characters. In Tarkov, there is this health system that divided by head, thorax, stomach, arms, and legs. If the character got damage in the head or thorax, it could be fatal and might instantly kill the characters. On the other hand, if stomach, arms or leg got damaged, you will not be killed, but still, it potentially triggers bleeding, cannot sprint, looting becomes slow, and many other interesting complexity because of this health system. Should we adopt such system? Maybe, but we simplified it. So yeah, being damaged in a specific part of the body could trigger interesting complexity to the game. Like being stabbed in the head might trigger temporal blindness. Being hurt in the leg make your sprint slow. Or if one of your arms being injured, you cannot effectively use two-handed weapon. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, there is a healing crystal that pretty much instantly heal your characters, and if this crystal is easy to get, you will end up something like Soulborn PvP. Yeah, Soulborn PvP is exciting. You convince me. In Albion Online, there is a healer class, but there is no such things as instant healing. There are abilities that could heal the characters like Bloodlust, but there is no way to instantly heal without healer. Just like Sword Art Online, potion in Albion Online is healing over time. I like that because trying to survive while being chased will be the true struggle. So yes, the crystal will be very hard to get. Either expensive or maybe need cooldown after being used, that you need to actually using your brain and being tactical about your consumption. Also, in Albion Online, food that player consume is giving some buff, like extra damage, extra defense, extra yield, and many more. If Sword Art Online become a regional open world, hey, let's go to that dungeon. Oh yeah, sure. Let's hit that restaurant first and getting 30 minutes extra damage buff. Okay, let's do it. But of course, changing or adding buff in the middle of a raid will make sense. So you can eat the food later, but the buff will not be as good as what you eat in restaurant. Or it could be something like Monster Hunter meat cooking minigame, which is if succeed, you will get a better buff, but still can't be as good as eat it in restaurant. But well, I never play any Monster Hunter, so I don't know about the details. As a survival MMO, it would be suck if you instantly die because of the depleted HP. So I will propose something like this. In a game called Rust, if you got defeated, you will not instantly die and then get respawn, those kind of things. In Rust, you will be in a state called knocked out. You only able to crawl and have your fate decided by the victor. In Rust, you could kill, you could revive, you could loot, you could trash talks, and many more kind of things to the knockout players. What about Sword Art Online though? Pretty much the same, but because there is aincrad morality system, you could arrest an orange or red players into the jail. Not only that, because defeating a player is pretty hard, execution will be awesome. This will be epic. Well, those will be some tertiary stuff. Let's talk about the primary stuff. Aura system. Here's the thing. In Tarkov, you could have a level 10 player with overpowered gear versus a level 40 with starting gear, and the fight will not be even. Because the level 40 player will have a better endurance, better proficiency in a specific weapon, better stamina, better effectiveness in consumption of medication, and all those RPG elements that Tarkov has. So basically, not only Smurf is a problem for everybody, new low-level player is destined to be a stepping stone of the veterans, the Smurf, and anything else. And here's the thing, I gotta say that noobs are a foundation of a community, and Tarkov is not that welcoming. Then how does Escape from Tarkov work? Because it filters out the gigantic, mega, galactic first-person shooter shooting game community like Call of Duty, Apex Legends, PUBG, and many more. I can say that the best of the best player from every single first-person shooter gamer out there will have at least tried Tarkov. So I don't think Sword Art Online could pull that off because gamers don't really appreciate competitive third-person shooter, in my opinion. So how do we protect this weak new puppy that want to learn without being bullied by the strong or weak but experienced players? Aura systems. Tarkov put bunch of players in the same cage because this player queuing at the same time. So, no mercy. The unlucky new player just gonna be trampled because not enough player queuing in his bracket level or maybe miscalculated by the system. So yeah, matchmaking system stuff. So I propose the idea that a skilled Sword Art Online player will have the track of violence that will prove the superior value compared to the new players. What is the track of violence? It is a metric data that collect how long that player played in that wipe, how many mob or creature this player have eliminated in that wipe, how much player this player have killed, and many more metric to value how good this skilled player is. So, what happens if a new fresh new puppy players meet a skilled player? They will be invisibles or transparent. And basically, a player with a high value in the track of violence will not be able to hurt the lesser valued player. Or I can say the aura is so strong it makes the weak kneel. The weak player will be the buff, become slow but nobody could hurt them. all they can do is leave the scene and then give away whatever resource in that site. By the way, what kind of value difference to pull this aura system off? Of course, it will be something that's severely different to the point that new player is just basically feed themselves to the superior player. I don't know if this is actually the first of its kind, but if it does, tadakimasu. Wow, that is so helpful to the new player. But what if the new player want to challenge themselves? Well, they could break free from the aura themselves. Let's say the new player want to try to beat the dungeon boss, but suddenly the skilled player ambush him. But because of the aura system, the bullying is being cancelled. Let's say the skilled player decide to finish the dungeon boss themselves, but they got heavily damaged. And then the new player decide to break free from the aura. This player might finish the boss and the skilled player all together. Yes, profit. And even if somehow this system is being exploited, it will not be long enough because of the track of violence. You know, the noob defeated the skilled player more than once. That's sus. So yeah, that is how I protect our sweet, cute new players. Heir system. So, in survival MMO, there's this incentive to have a stash. The idea of a stash is a room to keep extra weapon, equipment, supply, quest items, and many more. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, there is a housing and renting system. In the anime, the heroine bought a house in Selmberg for luxuries, I guess, I don't know. On the other hand, in Sword Art Online Progressive, which is a soft remake of the original, the protagonist rent the secret apartment with a bath in the town near the tower-like dungeon. So, I propose something like this. You would have an unlimited stash and a free room in the starting city. But if you want to changing your hunting ground, you have to rent a room or buy a house in the floor that you wanted. Not only it will become your hideout, it also hold your temporal stash, your spawn point, and maybe a place to hang out with your friends, if you have any. So, you have a house or a room for you to live. But because of the morality system in aincrad, you could be in a jail. If we want to be loyal to the lore, having your character in jail make you incapable of using that characters for the time being. So I propose the heir system. You could have a multiple character under the same family name. The stash is same, but the skill and the equipment will stay within the jail. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, the protagonists have this footprint scanner scale that kinda obnoxious. Should everyone in the family have a same skill? I don't think so. Especially having multiple characters will encourage players to try different builds or maybe different choices in quests, like should you choose the high elf or maybe the dark elf. Third-person shooter melee combat. Why third-person shooter and not first-person shooter? Because first-person shooter melee combat is weird. It is true that first-person shooter could mimic realistic vision that humans have, but in reality, humans just need to rotate their eyeballs a bit and they will have 180 degrees of vision, and they do not need to recalibrate their head to where they're looking. If you don't get me, you don't need to. But here's the thing. Third-person shooter giving more visual information than the first-person shooter does. First-person shooter is good for long-range observation. But for a game without range combat, third-person shooter is better. There is a game called Century Age of the Ashes, where you become a wyvern rider. No, it is a dragon! Wyvern rider, where you control the movement of your wyvern horizontally or vertically, just like a plane. The interesting thing about this fast-paced game is a single button. A single button to instantly look behind and obtain the necessary information as you decide to run, to fight, or maybe to trap. The problem in third-person shooter competitive game is the ability to see the enemy behind a cover without showing your body. I don't know if it is a norm or not, but my solution to that is just to blur everything outside of the cover and creating a peeking mechanic if the player want to see the target clearer for identification or something like that. I kind of forget about looking behind system is actually kind of unfair. So we could make some visual cue if our target is actually looking behind its back. And also, maybe we need a button to instantly look left or look right as well. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, the first floor is not just an expanse horizontal exploration, but also verticals. So we gonna have fall damage. Should we have climbing mechanic? I don't know. I don't think it is a priority, but it is nice to have it. Just imagine climbing and being attacked by a flying mob. It would be nice to fight the mob mid-climb, right? Or maybe PvP mid-climb. Crazy. You can do those in third-person shooter. I don't know about first-person shooter though. Kinda awkward, no? What about jumping? Should we have double jump, triple jump, or something like that? Well, I do not like that. Maybe just a single jump will be enough, or you need a perk or skill for double, triple jump. And no, I'm not talking about mid-air jump, because fall damage will be fatal. I'm talking about redirectional jump, like hopping or something like that. And a skill to side wall running is cool as well, as long as you have the stamina and not overcumbered to perform it. Is there any other third-person shooter movement? Oh yeah, rolling. Soulborn game glorified rolling. I do not like it. And it's kinda suck for survival MMO. I mean, a single button to teleport few meters. That's kinda unfair. What if we make rolling complicated though? Like the input to do rolling is directional button first, then crouch button, and then jump button. And if you need to crouch, your input will be crouch button first and then movement input. And also to roll, you need to throw your bag so you can be light enough to actually roll. And yes, it is inspired from Tarkov mechanic. Wait, you know what? Let's go crazy. A vertical jump will be jump button and then directional button. If you press directional input and then jump, you will perform side jump or side step or whatever you call it. Just imagine the combat potential. But yes, if you think more about it, people will not have fun with it. Only the pro will like it. So the introduction of this complex mechanic will be at the new update floor 15 or something like that. Oh yeah, the Sword Art Online game that I propose will be a game that's gonna be relevant for 50 years into the future. So yes, first floor will be created for 3 to 7 year development or something like that. Like, you know, a legendary adaptation or something like that. So yeah, a gigantic project. Visual. For the visual, I propose something that not realistic, but also not too anime-ish. Something like the Resident Evil 4 art direction, the original one, but of course with colorful MMO vibe. Or maybe a level up but darker version of Sword Art Online Black Swordman Ace, which is a Genshin clone or something, I don't know. Or maybe something like Fire Emblem Three Houses. Or maybe like the New World aesthetic but with low polygon, because Japanese love low polygon. No, that's not the reason. Every single person on Earth can actually play it. Even using the old machine, or maybe freaking mobile. Nah, never mind. Mobile stuff is too much. For the UI, I love the original anime vibe, like the health bar that curve in the left side, blue as yes, red as no. The only thing I ask is just dark mode for the UI. Yeah, just that. Now that the presentation have been addressed, let's talk about the actual gameplay. Melee art combat. The romanticization of sword combat in gaming industry is pretty much overpopulated by fantasy genre. Because of that, majority of it is simplified to balance melee combat to magic and range combat. What about pure melee combat game? We have The Witcher, For Honor, Shifu, Absolver, Sleeping Dogs, Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, and many more. I would love to have For Honor type of presentation, which is each attack is actually connected to the target. And it shows the weight of the swords. Not like those bizarre swinging into the air sword magic, you know. In For Honor, there is this epic duel system that represents as top, diagonal left, diagonal right, parry system. I do not understand. I never played myself, but I know there is complexity to it. I hope it is a fun complexity. I don't know. In case of Sword Art Online as a survival MMO, we might get into a situation where a player being surrounded by multiple players, or basically being ganked. So something like For Honor duel system will not be nice. So I propose something like this. Because the foundation of melee combat is stab, slash, and crush, left mouse button click will perform a slash attack. Holding left mouse button will perform a crush attack. And to perform a stab, you need to hold right mouse button to perform aim and parry. And then click left mouse button while aiming to perform a stab. Or in shooting games terminologies, aim down sight to stab, hip fire to slash, and hold hip fire to crush. By the way, I don't know why RuneScape call it crush attack, but I like it. And it is better than heavy attack, you know. Oh yeah, to cancel a stab, a slash, or a crush to, you know, fake attack the enemy, all you need to do is aim and parry or on guard button. Wait, does that mean I could use crush attack using a rapier? Yes, but your rapier durability metric will decrease fast and might break. Especially in the anime, there is a lot of instances of weapon breaking. So yeah, loyal to the lore. Yay! So, For Honor parry system is no good. What kind of parry system that would work? Sekiro. So, Sekiro parry system is kinda like 180-degree types of parry. Sorry, I never played the game. All I can do is watching streamer. But there is a posture system that basically will nullify all kind of attack by using parry. But it is limited to your posture bar. And what happens if your posture bar depleted? Your parry will break and you will become a naked sausage. This parry system also makes you incapable of running, jumping, consuming, and all you can do is parry. Unless you have a perk or skill to parry while running. Yeah, something like that. I mentioned about magnetic parry earlier, which is basically Sekiro parry system, but the difference is I want the flow. I want the idea that you could have a never-ending exchange of counter-attack between players, and it will become a battle of will. Not as complicated as triangle, for honor system. I propose something like holding right mouse button to aim and parry. As the enemy attack register to your parry, you could press left mouse button to cancel that attack, and by pressing left mouse button again, you will perform a counter attack with damage bonus or something. And if your opponent does the same, both of you will be in a grind to break each other posture. How about long reach weapon like spears fighting sword player? Stabbing using spear will be fast, but to gain control again, it will make delay and slow a bit. Sword could cancel spear stab, but because of the reach, sword cannot counterattack spear. Don't you think that stabbing is kinda unnecessary? Oh, really? Okay, how about this? There is instance in the anime that it is possible to be disarmed in VR MMORPG. As a legendary adaptation, stabbing player hand or arm while they in aim and parry or on guard potentially could disarm their weapon. Imagine the panic of being disarmed. Come on! Not only PvP, stabbing into a creature weak spot could destroy it faster. In a game called The Cycle Frontier, there is this hostile creature named Marauder. This thing is tanky, and I'm using the best budget rifle and it took me few seconds. What if I shoot Marauder on its weak spot? Even faster. Now, watch this. If you don't understand, let me explain. I don't know if it is intentional or the cycle community found it themselves. Just by jumping, you can dodge its melee attack. And by focus fire into its mouth, you could cancel its swipe attack. Even make Marauder open its mouth again and defeat it super fast. So yeah, stabbing could lead into a fun complexity. I'm not talking about London, by the way. Just saying. By the way, should we incorporate attack with movement? You know, something like jumping up, with an axe and then crush button will perform a devastating single target attack. Or maybe something like using side stab to move around and then slashing with sword will make you hard to be aimed at. Or maybe using crouch and then crush with halberd could make the enemy fall for some millisecond. Huh? I don't know. Will it be a fun complexity? Also, in Sword Art Online, there is this thing called Switch. Switch is basically changing the fighter in the middle of a fight. Let's say you play as a duo. One of your fighter will fight the target and the other one is behind. If they switch, they will changing role and would give a room to the injured player to heal themselves. If it is a creature mob, they will automatically be changing target, making duo have a better survivability compared to both of the duo in half HP stat. And in case of duo versus trio, fighting a trio, the ability to heal while in combat will give the duo higher survivability because the use of the switch method. Sword Art Skill System. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, sword skill is basically a charge up attack with neon visual cue that being aimed and then released to a target. There is a scene in Sword Art Online where the floor boss sword skill and the protagonist sword skill cancelling each other because of timing. And applying the same principle in player versus player or PvP would make it exciting. Whether it is a lunge attack, AoE attack, or multiple hit attack of sword skill, I propose sword skill require a delay before activation with clear visual and sound cue to inform the opponent that they gonna die. About the multiple hit sword skill like Starburst Stream, let me remind you that Starburst Stream is a 16 hit / combo sword skill. And of course it will be sucked to try to parry all of that. So I propose to make Starburst Stream, which is a really rare sword skill in Sword Art Online, more like a buffed up normal attack that you can do 16 times. But of course you can deactivate it earlier to gain faster cooldown or something. And based on types of weapon, sword skill could be used in a lot of situations. This is Albion Online. Albion weapon system are categorized as warrior, hunter, and mage. By skipping all of its range weapon, we have sword, axe, mace, hammer, war glove. I don't know if we should put this one. Spear, dagger, and quarterstaff. I'm just gonna do smash or pass, okay? Let's start with sword. Interesting. Maybe. Nope. A kick and follow-up jump attack. Nope. Okay. Charge into a target. Nice. What the? Nah. Charge through the target. Interesting. Bomber sword. Yeah, something like that. Devil May Cry vibe, I guess, I don't know. Next is axe. Whatever. Maybe, but not 360. Maybe. Maybe not multiple spin, just once or something. That is not how you use a halberd. Ridiculous. That's good, actually. Now we're talking. Epic, but no, nah. Now we into the maze section. Maybe, but not that wide. Nope. AoE and roots the enemy. Inspiring. Better. Hell nah. What? That is a giant wand and not a mace. What is happening here? Hammer time. Okay. It doesn't make sense. Maybe. Nope. How? A charge that stuns. Interesting. Halloween. Cool, but nope. Wow. No. Next is War Glove. Okay. Interesting. A kick and then teleport. Nah. The dude just flying. What is this? Nope. Nah. Well, it is a MOBA basically, so yeah. Shinderu. Nani? No comment. Bizarre. I don't know what to say. Time to spear. Extra range. That's good. Good, but not that fast. Rugby? I don't know if Sword Art Online need the root debuff among players. I don't know. I nettor your wife. I don't know if we could, throw main weapon in Sword Art Online. I don't know. Throw and defense break. Epic, but nope. Rugby 2.0. Yeah, it is what it is. Now we talk about dagger. Armor break. I don't know if Sword Art Online need that. Interesting. Negate healing percentage. Interesting. Final Fantasy? I don't know. I don't know. So it is buffed up basic attack. Even the attack speed increase. Even it's still HP. Nope. not that waiting for sure. It's fine, yeah. Block enemy movement in single target. Interesting. Interesting. That's too wide. I'm not explaining this. Attack and jump back. Interesting. Lastly, we have quarterstaff. A combo. I see. Rolling and defense buff. Nope. Nice. No. No. Round and round and round, running round. A jump and AoE swipe. That's magic. That's just... Wow. No. Nah. As you can see, Sword Art Online Sword skill need to be something that realistic as what a survival MMO meant to be, but also fantasy worthy to become sword skill. Just watch how the fight happened in the anime. Realistic, but also it is just a generic VR MMORPG with the focus of fun and the conveniences of a video game. We done with movement mechanic, combat mechanic, gameplay and those kind of thing. Now we're gonna talk about tertiary complexity that will generate happiness. Map data system. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online Progressive, the heroine once tried to end her own life by wandering around a dungeon till she dies, but then being saved by the protagonist. She was annoyed by the protagonist's heroism, and then the protagonist said if she want to end her own life, at least give him her map data. What is a map data? So basically, to give a players a sense of discoveries, video game map would show a minuscule information or no information at all about location that yet to be visited. So yes, you have to go there yourself to reveal the map data. In Sword Art Online, it could implicate as a discovery of a town, a dungeon, a special area, or whatever. Should we implement fast travel though? Maybe, but you have to pay for it. By the way, the Sword Art Online that I propose is not a full open world. Like the whole first floor is open world, no. Because it would lessen the social interaction, combat tendency, the immersion, and blah 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 blah. And you know, naked open world make it more like a theme park than a death game. Desu game. So I propose it to be a divided open world or zones. There is gonna be the city or town as the lobby or save zone. And then the location becomes something like a matchmaking cage or something like that. And then there is the link zone or connector between zones. So here is the flow. Let's say you want to go to that dungeon. You spawn in your house or apartment and then going through some zones inside the city or town, and then you go to the gate. Or you could just fast travel to the gate from your house. Of course, you will need the map data of the town to do that. So yes, you need to explore the save zone. You interact with the gate and it will give you option of link zone that connected to that save zone gate. Let's say some city or town have a multiple gate. You choose the link zone and then you will go to that link zone. You will have to fight your way through multiple link zones so that you can be in the location. What if the character died in the link zone? Well, you have to start over from the save zone again. Or maybe rush to where you die in case there is left over in your dead body. What if the character died in the location? Well, maybe you can just fast travel to the location. I mean, you have the map data, so why not? By the way, there is a scene where the protagonist using a horse, a mount, to quickly travel to save the day. It could be the fast travel. But for going back home, you need to go through link zone to the save zone gate. Wait, so the heroine able to transfer map data to the protagonist in a form of an items. Can we just buy map data from players or maybe the NPC? Maybe. I don't know. So yes, map data stuff is kinda complicated. The bigger question is, if it is actually being implemented, would it be fun or actually obnoxious? I don't know. I mean, the link zone could be where to farm resource. And because of the aincrad morality system, red and orange player cannot going into the safe zone, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. By the way, can player have a hideout outside of the safe zone? You know, like having hidden stash or something like that. I don't know. That is not the priority, but it is interesting complexity. I believe it is the first of its kind. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those gonna be the extra complexity about the map data system, because in Sword Art Online, you could just open aincrad floor map from the UI. But for the dungeon map data, you need to explore the dungeon to know anything about it. Dynamic questing. So, I don't play Tarkov. All I do is just watching streamer playing the game. Because I'm an Indonesian and don't have a credit card because I don't have a job. But I'm waiting for it to be existed in Steam, which is unlikely, and maybe experience it myself. Why I watch people playing Tarkov though? Because I love to see people suffer. Not only that, I don't want to play it as a fun game, so it is unlikely for me to go beyond level 20 because I am not a no-life that play video game all the time. But here's the thing, I played the Cycle Frontier, which is basically Tarkov clone with space twist. It is fun. Yeah. And here is another thing. I do not like the single player quest system in a freaking survival MMO. Especially someone could hogging a specific site for their own quest while the weak new player is expected to wait or die trying. The veteran will know every single detail about the quest, to the point that the new player is destined to only gain the leftover. I don't know about Tarkov, but in the Cycle Frontier, there is this mission that make you have to eliminate numerous strider in the favela. But the problem is, favela is a high quality loot zone. How many times you think I need to visit favela just to eliminate bunch of striders? Many times. Because most of the time it got wiped out. All the time. That is suck. So, what is a dynamic questing? Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online, you can get a quest from NPC or the quest giver around the town or maybe near a dungeon. Or let's go crazy, you can receive a quest from an inspect of a paper or item somewhere. You know, like those generic MMO quest system out there. And yeah, actually, to be honest, I never play World of Warcraft or any WoW clone and those Korean MMO BS, so I don't know how their questing work. But here is how I propose. Because it is a survival MMO, the resource will be limited. So why don't we make limited quests? Let's say a quest giver only able to give specific amount of quests within a specific duration, and later on will be in a reset, or the quest giver just wandering around. Remember that Sword Art Online players' main goal is to clear 100 floors of aincrad. So there is no reason to make everyone experience the same thing, the same quest. In the end of the day, survival MMO and, to be honest, any MMO are more focused on accumulating resource than a sob story of trader that being attacked by some monsters. In Sword Art Online Progressive, there is a huge quest like choosing High Elf or Dark Elf that will be a series of quests for multiple floors. So yes, there will be that kind of quest. But then there will be a quest that more focus into resource for crafting or something like that. By the way, about crafting, let me remind you, in Sword Art Online there is no job system. Basically, every single player can just do blacksmith, cooking, woodcutting, fishing, or whatever. Especially because the nature of Sword Art Online, there is no magic or something like that. So, can player craft potion then? I don't know. I don't know. I do not read the original like novel or even the progressive like novel, so I don't know. If you know the answer though, please type it in the comment section. If the lore of Sword Art Online is just bunch of magicless warriors, how does the potion and the crystal even be made? I want to know. I want to know. For the time being, let's say that those items only able to be produced by the NPC. But here is my twist. I imagine there is a market by NPC and there is a market by the players. For the NPC market, I want to make multiple retail store with each of them have a different price, purchase plan, item subscription, and many more, so that the safe zone will be lively. In Albion Online, there is only one market in each town. It is convenient but messy as hell. Imagine this in third-person shooter. So, like I said, there will be multiple restaurants with different menu. Maybe one of them focus in tank build, maybe focus in the DPS build, or even those ninja or assassin build. There will be multiple blacksmith with different focus as well. And there will be a little fun complexity around the NPC market. In the player's market, I want something like an auctions. So there will be a podium or something for a player to using the social system. Let's say chat bubble system, or maybe, VoIP or voice over internet protocols to make safe zone lively. And maybe, karaoke system so that everyone can sing in crossing field together or something. It will be fun. It will be fun. Or just simply the traditional auction. That is fine. Floor-based rarity system. At the start, I thought we should go with the normal, uncommon, rare, epic, exotic, and legendary type of rarity system. But in Sword Art Online, there is no such things. It is more like whatever the base of that weapon is, and then you have the option to enchant it to higher degree. So I kinda confused to implement it. And the more and more I think about it, what if it goes something like this? In the first floor, floor 1, you only able to buy from the NPCs, and every single one of the NPC store would only having level 1 items. Why only level 1 items? Well, because you are in the floor 1. Okay, fine. What if we in the floor 10? Well, there is only level 10 items to buy. Do you understand? What if I defeated a creature and the RNG dropped me a level 15 items while I am in the floor 7? Well, that is quite rare, isn't it? So basically each floor will have a base level for its items. Floor 20 will have level 20 swords. Floor 69 will have level 69 shield and whatever. If you want a higher level weapon beyond its floor, you will need to gacha or grind in the dungeon to obtain higher level items. For the dungeon RNG, let's say floor 20. The lesser drop will be level 18 and 19. For the higher drop, it will be level 21 and higher. The best drop of the floor 20 will be a level 30 items or maybe higher. So the rarity system will be the player's perspective. But here's the thing, level 12 and level 17 will not be significant. So it should be an easy power balancing. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online there is a specific type of items that only able to be obtained in a specific location on a specific floor. Let that information become a fun complexity to imagine. For this system, it will actually be implemented in the development of floor 10 or something, because it's not a priority for the official release. Floor boss siege system. Let me remind you, Sword Art Online does not have class or job system. The player have the liberty to do some sort of roleplay. We have the X guy that basically play as a tank player, we have the protagonist as the damage dealer, we have the heroine as a high mobility damage dealer, we have the shield guy that basically damage dealer but also tank, but there is no healer, there is no support and magical support, but there is ranger, ninja, assassin roles and whatever. So there is some sort of composition of team in a party. Let me remind you, the ultimate goal of Sword Art Online is to conquer the aincrad. The higher the floor, the better the challenge. And remember, Sword Art Online is just a generic VR MMORPG. But what makes it special is the emphasis over the meaning of fear, nihilistic, godless, death, confinement, digital hell, and all of the reason why it is the best anime ever made. Yes, the story was a shame though. But here's the thing. Floor boss is a symbol of oppression, limit, and the ultimate death in Sword Art Online. Because by eliminating the floor boss, it would open a new world. Should we just make a floor boss a huge object with a wide hit area and a lot of HP? Or should we make it more challenging? Because the nature of Sword Art Online as a melee-focused combat video game, the floor boss is also melee-oriented. The composition of players will be needed. Thus, the roles will actually make their effectiveness. Here is the flow. In order to start a floor boss combat, you will need to discover the location of the room boss in the tower-like dungeon or the labyrinth. Either make it a randomly generated dungeon, each wipe is not my priority. The moment a player opens the boss room, every single online player in the server will get a pop-up. Floor boss found. And then the strongest player would be invited to a designated time to participate in the floor boss raid. This is only happen for the very first floor, because beyond floor 1, everything will be different. The strongest player will be put into a multiple party and they will fight their way to beat the boss. The floor boss will have a melee combat. And yes, there is a depiction of floor boss sword skill being cancelled by the protagonist sword skill that stunned both of them. What I mean is the floor boss combat is just like how the player versus player combat is. Yes, I'm talking about an AI that will adapt to the player's action. An AI that will target low HP player within its reach. An AI that will reposition itself from being surrounded and maybe even breaking players' formation and punish the lack of players' teamwork. Because it is a survival MMO, death will be fatal. So anyone can run away from the boss room or maybe using the teleportation crystal to the nearby town, but nobody cannot get inside the boss room until that floor boss fight ended. You would need a lot of healing, a lot of communicating, and a lot of concentration until your raid party take down the floor boss as the strongest player in the whole server. As the second floor open, guild mechanic will be unlocked. Auction, morality, crafting, and many other systems is starting to become available. I can say that the first floor is just an introduction of Sword Art Online gameplay or aincrad world. For the floor 2 and higher, floor boss raid will be consisted by multiple guilds, so that there is no guild monopoly in aincrad and would actually create the frontline players that being depicted by the lore. The dynamic of frontline player, which is those no-life player, and aincrad inhabitant player, that would be me, would create an illusion of living in aincrad as a single ecosystem, that it is some sort of community game like Death Strandings or something like that. So for the floor boss, it will be like player versus player combat. How about those non-humanoid field boss? Well, maybe I'm asking too much. There is this game called Shadow of Colossus. You see, I never played the game myself, but I gotta say, climbing a gigantic boss is kinda cool. Especially in a party, that will be epic. At the end of the day, I want a real siege, and I have not found it in gaming industry or even the indie gaming community. Wait. We have mount and blades though. Is it actually a good siege experience? Aincrad morality system. Let me remind you, in Sword Art Online there is an orange and red players. But why they make such things? If we actually think about the lore and the intention of the developer of the actual generic VR MMORPG genre, why they put such system? If Sword Art Online ultimate goal is to conquer the 100th floor, why PvP will be desired? Why players have to hurt each other? If the Sword Art Online PvP is just an afterthought and the game itself is just an adventure theme park of aincrad, why they even have a jail system? Why they have a morality system? And what would be the benefit of defeating a player and getting orange or red status for temporal days? If it is a generic MMO, you would die and just respawn with all of your sweaty, overpowered gear. You lose nothing. Here is the thing, I do not read the light novel. I do not read the progressive light novel, and I do not know why you would kill a player in the aincrad theme park. Roleplay? Or maybe Sword Art Online is actually a survival VR MMORPG, which is VRS MMORPG. I don't know. But later on, Kayaba Akihiko revealed that Sword Art Online is indeed a death game, not a theme park. Again and again, the anime proving that people killing each other for resource. There is even a freaking PK guild like Laughing Coffin. And the player killer PK term is being used multiple times by the protagonist, who is a beta tester, and as far as I know, either PK is a common term in that universe, you know, that futuristic Japan, or it is more like a recent thing in aincrad. I don't know the truth. Whatever. So, aincrad morality system is basically a system that punish player that done evil to other players. If I am not wrong, assaulting a player would make your character into an orange characters, and killing a player would make your character a red character. Of course, red character would stay longer in the jail compared to the orange character. By the way, let's talk about the green characters. If green character being assaulted by orange player, and then the green character fight back as self-defense, they will not become orange themselves. But if they decide to kill the orange characters, they would become red. Remember, you could put the orange player into the jail. Also, if you don't want to get into the jail for whatever reason, you could end your own life and just gonna respawn naked. Is it fun complexity or maybe obnoxious? I don't know. Beside PvP, I don't think there is any other reason to have morality system. So there you have it. Wipe system. The first time I played the Cycle Frontier, I was excited. The feeling to outsmart, sneak, or even rat other prospectors is just wonderful. The heart-beating fight between humans that will decide our little story as a victor or maybe as a loser create these cycles of struggle that I enjoy. But it all changed when they put the wipe system. All of my effort, all of my sacrifice, all of the feeling that I get from investing my time in the Cycle Frontier is disappeared. My faction levels, 0. My stash, gone. My progress, off. Everything is being reset. Everyone is starting from the beginning. I thought to myself, why would I even play a game if everything in that game eventually will be gone? And then I play Albion online, where there will be a player with 100 billions of silver as he play Albion for a long time. There will be Zerg versus Zerg that will forever fight their share of Black Zone. There will be a never-ending goal that every single player make by themselves to forever stay in Albion. I compared the Cycle Frontier to Albion Online, and I remember why I play games. Because it is fun. We have papers, drawing, book, music, video, movie, and on top of any types of entertainment that humanity ever created, there is video game. It is a world with its own rules and law to entertain us, the players. Especially there is a games that you never touch again because you forget or no longer interested by it, or someone or some people or some group influence you to stop playing. So yeah, having any digital possession in any form is kind of weird because it's all about the fun that you get. So what is a wipe system? It is basically a system to reset the game or changing the game, and every single progress that player made would be restarted to zero. Why should we wipe? Because it makes everyone into the same starting state, that nobody is in unfair condition. Not only that, it gives you the opportunity to experience many more variables that you might never experience. In Cycle Frontier, they do a seasonal wipe. Why seasonal? Because by the next season, there will be a new update. What kind of update? It could be an update where your favorite weapon is deleted, or maybe some mechanic being reworked, or maybe a totally different gameplay, or maybe the whole game itself is changed. What about Tarkov? They do uncertain wipe, which means they could wipe the game whenever they want. They need. They did it so that they could improving the games or whatever. In Rust, wipe happen based on server settings, a week, a month, or maybe more. Why Sword Art Online need the wipe? Like I said, suddenly make 100 maps overlapping each other in 5 to 10 years would give you something miserable. So it would be the first flaw, and slowly but surely getting higher. Because it is in ongoing development, it could have more improvement over time. Like a totally better mechanic or something like that. We can say that players are building the game as well as they contributing in playing the game. For the very first floor, players would beat the floor boss in a month. 30 days of pure gameplay. And we wipe it all. They introduced the second floor. Players would beat it in 40 days because they understand how to finish the floor 1 faster. They introduced floor 5, and player would beat it in 75 days, and all that left is killing each other for fun. The game got wiped. They introduced the floor 25, and then players beat it in 300 days of pure gameplay. And one day they will introduce the floor 100, and all of the player would race to the top with whatever goal they set. 50 years have passed, and there is only yearly wipe. Multiple generation of human is a part of this journey. I believe Sword Art Online title deserve such immortalization. I don't know about you. Social aspect. As I said, the bottom will be book. Above it will be music. Above music, there is theater. Above that, there is video. Above the video, we have movie. and on the top it will be video games. But you know what? Even among video game, there is the ultimate form of video game, which is social video games. Social games are the final form of video games in my opinion. Because social game could trigger creativity, humanity, feeling beyond what the game intended. I said something about karaoke using VoIP, which is very cool, but then I wonder what kind of social aspect we can put into Sword Art Online. We're gonna have guild, PvP, floor boss siege, trading, festival, event, marriage, and many more. It's not gonna be the foundation of the game, but we need more than just a bloodbath. Call of Duty social aspect is famous for its incoherent trash talk that most of the time does not mean anything, but it is partially convey the basic feeling while playing the game. Albion Online social aspect is conveyed through chat bubble. Is interesting but awkward. Especially it is a fast-paced game. On the other hand, Tarkov having more refined communicating wheel to express their feeling even while the danger of being betrayed is high. The feeling when you seeing a new player struggling and the desire to help them is pretty much what make a survival MMO is very social. The most retarded experience, the most beautiful experience, the most exciting friendship are crafted in this social aspect. So, I don't know how, but we need a strong social aspect in Sword Art Online. And of course, available for everyone. Oh yeah, by the way, I want an NPC waifu that would Okaeri nasai when I was killed by other player. Yeah.
Negative. Shit, what's your problem, man?
Monetization. Survival MMO is not a game for everyone. It is hard, it is stressful, and it is time consuming. The Cycle Frontier is a free-to-play game, and the monetization is pure in the skin of weapon, skin for characters, and other skin just like Rust. You can buy specific pack to give you more items and extra Kmart that would help you to have a better start in each wipe. What about Sword Art Online? First of all, it can't be free to play because it is alienating majority of population and might traumatize pool of innocent souls. So yes, it will be paid client or something like that, and might change to free to play when there is a stable community and financial heaven created by the players. That way, the new player could play on their own pace as the experienced player grind in a higher floor. Or it could be 5 floors would be free to play, and for higher floor it would be paid content. That's interesting. It should be Japan first because it is a Japanese IP, and I don't know. I don't want the Western publisher to operate Sword Art Online monetization, and of course not by those Como, you know, the Korean MMO. And because it is started in Japan, it could pioneer the foundations of Sword Art Online culture that will be the staple for the ongoing server in the future, just like how Fantasy Online MMO and Final Fantasy MMO teach how to be civilized in video game. Hear me out. You can say I'm being greedy with the monetization, but all I propose is just to facilitate people's greed. Skill-based video game is not profitable. A game without skill ceiling could mine greedy player as they being seduced by sexual tension that cover in a constant story of the character in that game and glorified to influence other players to make more additional purchase of a gambling ticket. So, should we put gacha in survival MMO? Yes. What kind of gacha though? Items gacha, which contain weapons, equipment, supplies, material, and all of that. But all of it will be gone in the next wipe. Well, some people are greedy and love to pay to win. Huh? And don't forget about aura and morality system. You know what I mean. Especially if the items you gacha are not compatible to your character build, all you can do is put it into the auction. Not only that, even if your gacha having overpowered gear, PvP is fierce. So yes, this gacha is effective for the frontliner and expert player that might be making money by making content themselves. So yes, reinvestment to the community. Not only item gacha, we will have skins gacha. In case of weapon, you could skin every single weapon with the protagonist black and white liner pack or something like that, and maybe other weapon skin based on other anime as collaboration. And of course, skin stay forever to that account. Regarding the skins in general, I want a difficult quest or some sort of obnoxious task in aincrad to prove how intense you are and reward you with a skin and, you know, cosplaying as Killa in Tarkov or those Call of Duty golden weapon skin shenanigans. Or basically, there is a paid skin, gacha paid skin, skill-based skin, task-based skin, and many more skins. Maybe some people want to cosplay as Knight of Blood or those samurai dude. I don't know. The other way to monetize it is subscription. What kind of subscription? Maybe like extra character slot, daily free items, gacha ticket, a secret item that might open unknown door somewhere and basically an obnoxious key, discount for items or supplies purchase, and many more. How about Battle Pass? Personally, I never play or watch any Japanese MMO. It will be awesome if it is into global cultural variation, you know, Viking, Victorian, Renaissance, or any time period with melee weapons. The other option is pure donation to the developer livelihood, you know, maintenance developer or something like that, so that the gaming monetization goes straight to the new content. Just hope that they don't do corruption with it, especially considering how popular Sword Art Online IP is. Closing. Thank you for watching this far, and I hope you get the best impression of what I'm trying to do. I do not know about the complexity of copyright patent in gaming industry. Even I am surprised that Apex Legends patented their battle pass system. The hell? So of course, copyright in my opinion limit creativity, but also it inspire innovation and all along the way. And adapting Sword Art Online into a generic character-focused narration is kinda a waste of potential, in my opinion. And I hope Sword Art Online IP owner met the right people to create a legendary adaptation that would actually be something that the community wanted, needed, and cherished about the IP. That's it for me, AGCV signing out. Ja neh.